Welcome back to another video. I am so excited for this video. This is the second video in the business series that I started on this channel. My first video was posted quite a while ago, a couple months ago, and it was just all about my story of how I started my digital marketing company. So I decided for the second video, I'm going to talk about how to know when it's time to quit your 9-to-5 job, and I'll tell my story about quitting my 9-to-5. So I appreciate you watching this, and if you have any questions at all, please leave a comment below and I will answer every single question. And yeah, let's get started. So Mitch is my husband, we own our own digital marketing company, which is a little backstory, and it's called Showtime Media. And so we started our company about 2.5 years ago, and I'm just starting to share my journey that I've been on for the past 2.5 years about starting a company and kind of everything, the ins and outs, and what I've learned along the way. So with that being said, we have an Along the Way podcast, and we do have an episode about how to know when it's time to quit your 9-to-5. If you'd like to listen to that, I will link that below as well. We talk about a ton of different topics, and so it's all about the journey of getting to wherever you want to go, whether it's trying to be the best parent that you can be, or trying to start a business, or trying to be a vlogger, trying to be a musician, photographer, anything. Literally, we talk to anybody and everybody, so go ahead and check that out if you are wanting more content like this. But I was doing some research when it came to this topic on the internet, and I was just Googling, how do I know when it's time to quit my 9-to-5 job? And tons of the stuff that were coming up were all about, you know when it's time when you hate your boss or you hate your job. And it just didn't give you tactical advice on actually when is it time. Like, I know that I don't like my boss, and I know that I don't like my job, but I can't really just up and quit because I don't have an income and I don't have a plan and I don't have an idea of what I'm gonna do for a living. So this video is going to show you and talk to you about how you actually know it's time, not just that you don't like your current situation. Okay, very first thing that you need to know is, before you even think about quitting your job, is you have to have a business. You have to have a financial plan, and this means for your business and personal. So let's talk about personal for a second. You have to know how much it costs you to live. And this, I just want you to calculate how much it costs for your rent, how much your groceries cost, how much it costs about for like an estimate for your water, for your electric, for your Wi-Fi, for your cable, for your phone bill, for your car insurance, for your student loans, anything like that that you have that you are paying for. Add up. And when you're doing your water and your electric, things like that that differ, just figure out about, okay, what's the highest amount that this could possibly cost me? So water's pretty cheap here in Tennessee. I'll just give you an example. Our water bill is probably around $30. So I would probably say, okay, $50 is probably my highest amount, just in case anything happens. I know I'm gonna be okay. So go ahead and calculate all of those and have that number there. And then once you have those, make sure you are factoring in groceries, you're factoring any like feminine products, your cleaning products, anything if you like to go out to eat. Make sure you're factoring in any extra spending money, and just have that number on the side. So you know, okay, I need to make this much money to survive, to actually live. So make sure you have that. That's the first part of the financial plan. That's going to be your personal financial plan. You have to make sure you know how much you are actually spending each month and know how much it's going to take you to live. Because if you see that number, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was spending so much money, or that it is very expensive for me to live. So just think about all of that kind of stuff. Also make sure that you have a savings account. This is so important. This is right now, this time is the perfect example of why you need to have a savings account, because if something like COVID happens and you have a business that is deemed non-essential, you're out of work. You are not making an income. So if you don't have a savings account that has at least 3 months worth of money in there, it's not time. Now that you have your personal finances all together and you've figured out how much money you have how much money your living expenses are each month, and you have your money saved up, and you have all of that calculated, and you figured out how much money it's going to take you to be able to quit, let's figure out your business finances. Just figure out how much money you're making now and figure out your projections for the future. This is going to give you a better idea of exactly when you can quit your job. So figure out your projections and what those look like, and like I said, this is going to look different for every single person, but figure out your business projections, and then it'll give you a better timeline of when you can quit your job. So if you're growing at 50%, you might be able to quit your job super soon. If you're growing at like 120% each month and your business is starting to boom, you might say, oh my gosh, it looks like I'm gonna be able to quit my job in 2 months. The whole point of this is to give you a timeline of exactly when you're gonna be able to put in your 2 weeks notice at your job. So make sure you got your personal finances figured out. How much money is it going to take you to live? Do you have a good savings account saved up with it? Like I said, I would do minimum, bare minimum of 3 months. I would honestly say you should probably have 6 to 12 months saved in your savings account before you ever quit your job. Like I said, this does not mean that you can't have another stream of income, but this just means that if you have a really good 9-to-5 desk job, W-2 job that takes up 40 hours a week, I would have at least that much saved if you're going to quit that and do your business full time. Okay, so I just want to give you a little scenario. Say that you look at your business expenses and your business expenses are insane. You're like, holy crap, I'm spending so much money on my business. Look to see where you can cut costs. And this isn't personal too. So for example, Mitch and I were going out to eat a lot more often, and we were getting drinks more often, and we were buying things for our house, and we were buying new clothes before we quit our 9-to-5. And we were like, once we quit our 9-to-5 jobs and we don't have this extra income, we're not gonna be able to spend that anymore. We're not gonna be going to Home Goods and Target all the time. We're not gonna be going shopping every weekend and buying new clothes. That's just one of the sacrifices that you have to make when you are really trying to grow a business. So just take that into consideration. Look within your business internally also and see if you're spending money on a software that you might not need anymore, or if you're spending money on paying someone that you really could do it yourself, or you could find someone cheaper. Whatever that looks like for you, just look and see if you can cut costs anywhere, because this is also going to help you get out of your 9-to-5 job a little bit quicker. Okay, so another thing that you have to know is that you are going to be paying money for your taxes. You're not going to get a refund anymore. I'm so sorry, but long gone are the days where you get a tax refund if you work for yourself. So make sure that you are putting away money for your taxes. I would put away, so what we do for our business is we have a separate tax account, and we put 30% of whatever we make into that tax account. Like not whatever we make, whatever our business makes. So say we get paid $100, $30 of that, 30% is going into our tax account. This will help us pay our taxes at the end of the year. You can also do like quarter by quarter. I would really suggest, if you're not savvy on this kind of stuff, which I am not, I just know the bare minimum to get by, but hire an accountant, because they are going to be a lifesaver, and that way you know you're doing it right and there's just no issues, because taxes can be scary and you just don't want to get in trouble. Better be safe than sorry. So put in 30% into a separate tax account, and that way that money never gets spent, it never gets touched. Because if you don't have enough money to pay your taxes at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter or whatever it looks like, you will be put on a payment plan with the IRS, and I would not suggest doing that. It's not good for your business, and then you're just gonna end up being in debt to the IRS, and that's never a good thing. So just do yourself a favor and put the money away, open up a separate account that's your tax account, and just as soon as you get paid by your client every month, I think we do it once a month, I believe, we just stick the money in there. And yeah, so make sure you're calculating all that right. I know that there's things like we use FreshBooks to keep track of all of our accounting and everything, and like I said, now we have an accountant, but when we first started, we were making literally like not enough money to even matter. We were keeping track of it in FreshBooks, I believe, but I'll link some of them below, but there's tons of different accounting platforms, bookkeeping platforms that you can get. Also, something you need to be aware of before you quit your job is something you might not realize, but your job offers you benefits. And depending on how old you are and if you're married or not, you probably might be still under your parents' insurance, which is great. But just make sure you know that you will have to get your own health insurance when you are working for yourself, when you quit your 9-to-5 job. So just put that on your radar, depending on your circumstances and your situation. So we have to pay for our own insurance, and lucky for us, one of our clients provides healthcare. So we go through him, but just do some research and figure it out, and make sure you factor that into your expense sheet as well, because you don't realize it right now, but you are paying for insurance. But when you are working for yourself, there's no one to take out that money and put it towards your insurance and pay your insurance. So to keep that in mind, just something else that you need to think about before you quit your job. Okay, so now that we kind of went over things that you need to know before quitting your job is even on your radar. So what are some like telltale signs that maybe it's time that I should quit, and maybe it's time to take this thing full time? 1, your business is going to start to suffer when you are overextending yourself, because you are committing yourself to this 40-hour-a-week plus job, and then you're working on your business. And one of the issues that we ran into was that we did not have time to do all of our clients' work, and the work was getting done, but it was not getting done up to anybody's standards, and it was just a horrible experience for everyone, honestly. Sometimes there's just literally not enough time in the day to do every single thing, or on the weekends. And so if you are overextending yourself, then your business will start to suffer. And this is just one telltale sign that it's time to quit your 9 to 5 and either get a part-time job or quit full-time. Also, kind of going off of the same topic, is you're gonna miss out on opportunities, and this could be opportunities to sign on new clients because you just don't have the time to take on a new client, or opportunities to go to networking events, or opportunities to be on a podcast, or interview somebody, or meet somebody for coffee in the afternoon. So just think about that, and if you see that these opportunities keep popping up and your current career, your current job is preventing you from being able to take advantage of these opportunities, then I would say that that is definitely a sign it is time to quit your job. Number 2, are you spending more time working on your business than you are on your full-time job? We were working, okay, so I will tell you our schedule before we quit our 9 to 5 jobs. I would wake up about an hour before work, and I would work on Showtime for about an hour. I would leave for work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I would go to work, and then I would leave about 3:30, and I wouldn't get home till about 4:30, 5 o'clock because of traffic. And once I would get home, I would quickly make dinner, and then I would start working on the business again until probably 11 o'clock at night, and then I would do it all over again the next day, and then I would work full-time on the weekends, like 12-hour days on the weekends. So it was insane. And then Mitch was doing the exact same schedule as I was. The reality is it's extremely scary to jump from your 9 to 5 to your full-time job. Am I gonna have enough work? Am I gonna be able to sustain? Am I gonna be able to actually get more clients? Or what if these clients are customers that I have currently leave or don't purchase from me anymore? If you are flourishing in your business right now and you are growing and you are spending 50 hours a week on it, imagine what will happen when you quit your job right now and you have those 40 hours a week totally freed up. Imagine. It will be insane. Like, when we quit our jobs, our business grew exponentially. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this would happen. Which brings me to my next point of, you have to be okay with the fact that you're not gonna make the same amount of money every single month. And this is why a savings account is so important. So sometimes you're gonna have great months and sometimes you're not. There's a reason that they say Q4 in business is the best, and because it's Christmas time and everyone's purchasing around Christmas time. So just keep that in mind. And when you pay yourself for the first time, just make sure you are still putting money in your savings account and saving your money, because you might not make any money for a couple months or a month or whatever it is in your situation. So I just want to make sure you say that and just be prepared for that, because it is going to happen. One month you're going to do great and the next month might not be so good, and that's just how it goes. Okay, so now that I told you a few things that you need to look out for before you even put quitting your job on your radar, and then some telltale signs of maybe it's time to quit my job, when these things start happening, I'm now going to tell you the story about how we quit our 9 to 5. So we got married in July of 2019, and right afterwards we went on our honeymoon. And it was basically, well, we went on like a mini moon. So we went to Charleston for a long weekend, and we had this huge client that we were trying to land before our wedding. And so we said, okay, this is a huge account and it's gonna take us a lot of time. So if we are able to land this account, then we will quit our jobs, and that's it. So we landed the account and quit our jobs in August. So before all that happened, our business started to crumble a couple times. And this kind of goes back to the point that I was talking about, where you start missing out on opportunities, you start dropping the ball on things, and that is exactly what happened to us. So we were just overwhelmed. Like, we weren't, one, charging enough for the amount of work we were doing, and then two, we didn't have enough time in the day to complete all of the work that we were doing. So our business suffered from it, and that was just, there were a couple times that, like, looking back, we probably should have quit our jobs before we actually did. But I mean, I guess if we had quit our jobs during those times, I wouldn't be here to tell you my advice and hopefully save you from doing that to yourself, because thankfully we recovered from it. But yeah, it was tough because we were losing clients because they were like, this work's not getting done, or this work sucks because it doesn't look like you're spending much time on it. And the truth was, we weren't, because we had so much work to do. And so in August, we quit our jobs. So basically we were like, okay, if we land this client, we are gonna quit our jobs. And the most important thing to do is actually follow through and actually do that, because like I said before, we didn't do it before and our business crumbled. But just make sure that you have the things in place. So you're ready for your taxes, you're ready for your insurance, if you have to pay your insurance, you have your savings account just in case something happens, you have that saved up. And make sure, like I said, you're continuing to save your money, because within business, and especially when you run your own business, you just never know what's going to happen. Even if you are not quitting your job and you work for somebody else, make sure you have a savings account, because you could get fired, you could get laid off, the business can go under, literally anything can happen. So make sure you're saving your money. Okay, and then like just the last point that I want to touch on is, if you are going to quit your job, or if you think that it's time to quit your job but you're still not making enough money, don't be afraid to get a part-time job. Don't be afraid to drive Uber. Don't be afraid to get a job working at a store, getting a job working at Starbucks, fast food, waiting tables, bartending, anything like that. Don't be afraid to quit your corporate job and get a job like that in order to make money, because your business will grow. I promise you, if you keep working at it and you keep at it, you just need that extra money. There's no shame in doing that, and don't let anybody talk you out of that. So with that being said, this is our story of how we quit our 9-to-5 jobs and pursued our business full-time. And then just hopefully you find these tips helpful. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments and I will make sure I get to your questions. You can follow me on Instagram and DM me any questions that you have, and subscribe to this video if you want to see more like this, and let me know in the comments what kind of video I should do next for this business series. So hope you guys are having a great day, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you later.